Hi, welcome to Once Upon a Stitch Nook and my desk where the creativity happens. So today we're going to be doing the sunflower chain, which I will be showing you with yellow and brown yarn, and then after that I'll show you how I make a border around it using green yarn. So we'll get started with our brown yarn. You're going to use a 2.25 millimeter hook, and for disclaimer, these are, wait a minute. Yes, these two are a weight 2 yarn. This one I think is a 3. It's a little chunkier. You don't have to. You can make them all match, but I do. This was just the color I wanted, and I also like it gives a little more plush to the middle center of the sunflower. So we are going to start simply with a little circle. Get the hair out of the way. So you can do a magic ring or loop if you prefer. I've yet to really get that down, so I'm going to do a chain 2. You would do a chain 1 if you do a magic loop. And then we're going to half double crochet into that first chain here, second from your hook, 8 times. So 8 half double crochets. Make sure I get all the yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And on the 8th we want to do a color change, so I'm not going to finish off the half double crochet. I'm going to wrap the yarn and push it to the back and bring in the yellow to join. So the yellow, I'm going to do that last yarn over, pull through to finish that stitch. Just I find it makes it cleanest when we color change here, and slip stitch into the first stitch. So you'll see we'll have a little V at the top that is in yellow. And then from here, this is a bit of the tricky part, at least to visually understand. We want to go back into the previous stitch in the back loop. We're going to slip stitch into it. So I kind of orient myself from the sideways in the back a bit, then chain 2 like that. And then in that back loop only, whoops, I'm catching too much, you're going to do a double crochet like so. And I'm going to tighten my yellow yarn a bit, and then catching this loop, but also going into the front loop of the next stitch here, the front loop only, leaving the back loop. Oh, I'm sorry, we're doing a treble crochet, so yarn over twice. You don't have to catch this, but I tend to, like so. Do a treble crochet in the front loop only, then you'll chain 3 like that, slip stitch into the top of the treble crochet. This is creating a peacoat, which will make the little tip of the flower petal. I'm not doing that correctly. There we go. And then you're going to do another treble crochet into the same front loop only. There. Double crochet into the front loop only, same one. Going to chain 2 and slip stitch into that front loop only. And this concludes our first petal, as you see there. Now we're going to go behind the petal into that back loop we've been ignoring. And I like to have the yarn behind the hook this way, so when I'm slip stitching, the yarn is behind me as I yarn over and pull through. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to repeat that process. We're double crocheting in that back loop. Then we're going to go into the next stitch, front loop only, and treble crochet. Like so. Chain 3. Slip stitch into the top of the treble crochet. Treble crochet again into that front loop only. Double crochet into that front loop only. Chain 2. And then slip stitch into that front loop only. If I can get a good slip stitch. There we go. So you see we now have 2 petals overlapping a bit, and that's going to create a nice fan effect. And I'm just going to show you once more, maybe a little faster. You're going to repeat that. So you go into the back loop behind that petal, you chain 2, you double crochet into that back loop. Then you're going to treble crochet into the next front loop, chain 3 and slip stitch to make the peacoat, treble crochet again, double crochet, all in the front loop, chain 2, and then slip stitch. And then you're going to repeat that till you have 8 petals. I'll pick up with you on the last one so you can see how we join. But just keep going into the back loop, working into the front loop, and then so forth. Alright, I have done 7 petals and I have 1 more left to go. So I'm going to do my last slip stitch into the back loop. Oh. There we go, chain 2, double crochet into that back loop. Then we're going to treble crochet into the last front loop. Like so, chain 2, chain 3, slip stitch into the treble crochet, double crochet, losing grip on my yarn here, and then chain 2, and then you're going to slip stitch into that front loop, like so. And so you see you kind of have that overlap. Then you're going to cut your yarn. What I like to do, I'm going to pull that out, and then I'm going to poke my hook through at the base of the next petal, and I'm going to pull the yarn there to help it overlap. Give that a tug, and you see how that creates the overlap effect. Like so, and then you're just going to weave in the back all your loose ends. So go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to show you how to join your sunflowers. Alright, I have done the same thing. I've done my center and 2 petals, and usually at the number 2. You can technically do this with at the beginning 2, the last 2, but I tend to do it after I've done 2 petals. I'm going to start the next one, kind of carrying over some of this yarn with me. So I'm going to slip stitch into the back petal, chain 2, double crochet, then come to the front petal. I'm going to do my treble crochet to the front petal, and then I'm going to chain 2. At this point, I'm going to give this some room. And since this is the first one, no need to worry, but if it was already attached, let's say it was attached by these 2, you'd want to come over to the opposing 2, so the third one here. So for an example, let's go into that one, and I'm going to insert into the peacoat there, because that's the tip of the flower, and we want to join it, tip the petal, and we want to join it there. So I'm going to insert from the right side to the back. I'm going to pick up the loop. I'm going to tighten it now. Just bring it through, and then chain 1. So you now see we've done the full chain 3 as usual, and then you'll do your usual slip stitch into the treble crochet, and then you will continue the rest of the petal as normal. You'll do your treble crochet, double crochet, chain 2, and slip stitch into the front loop. Then you'll go and start your next petal by slip stitching in the back loop from behind, chain 2, double crochet into that back loop, then come forward to the next front loop with your treble crochet, going chain 2, and we're going to join 1 more. So insert into the peacoat, bring the loop through, chain 1, slip stitch, and then just finish that petal as usual. And then the rest is just the regular flower. So at this point you're going to do all your chains like this one, just attaching it on one side to the previous flower. That'll be starting to develop a chain for you. And then I'll show you how you can join it if you're doing this for the round. But similar principle, you would just join it at 4 points instead of 2. But for sake of extra visuals, I will show that to you here in a little bit. But for now, just work around your flower and develop your chain as long as you want it. So you have made your chain, and this is how many I want before I join. So I'm on my last one here, and then you see I have done 6 of the petals, including the join, and now I have the last 2. So here we're going to start our petal as we usually do, going into the back loop, chaining 2, double crochet, then we start into the front loop with our treble crochet, oops, and then the chain 2. And so now we're going to make sure not to twist, so I'm going to lay it like so, and make sure I'm joining in the opposing, inserting from the front to the back. Hold on, I can get the yarn untangled. Inserting into the correct petal picot from the front to the back, going to chain 1 there, slip stitch into the treble crochet, and then I'm going to finish that petal, and then I'm just going to do the same thing for the last petal. So starting the next petal, working into that last front loop, chain 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I went off camera. I'm joining in the next picot, bringing it through, chaining 1, then slip stitching into the treble crochet, and then just finish that last petal. Slip stitch. I can cut my yarn, pull it to the back, like so, and then there you have it. I'm going to weave in my ends, but that is a joined in the round sunflower chain. All right, we have our joined chain and then our straight chain. So this will be an example for the headband or the belt band on the cardigan, and this is like for the armbands. So I'm going to go over how to do the border on each. We're going to start with well, I guess we should start with this one, since this one builds off of the same principle. So what I like to do, and let's scoot that away, let's bring you down. What I like to do is start in the third away from the join when you're holding it up like so. I'm going to join here, so just poke in your picot, and then you're going to chain 1 and then single crochet in that picot like so. Then you're going to chain 3, then you're going to single crochet in the next picot like so. Now this is where we consider our corner. So here you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet in the next picot like so. Chain 3, single crochet in the next picot. Now you'll notice we have this big gap between them, and we're going to bridge that by chaining 3. We're going to double crochet into the joined petals, into the joined picot, so you can kind of pick a picot and double crochet into it like so. So you see how that's looking. Then you're going to chain 3, single crochet into the next picot, chain 3 again, single crochet into the next picot, chain 3, and double crochet into the joined picots again. And so you're going to do that all the way till you reach the next corner. So you're going to notice we're going to work until the last 2 petals here, and then we're going to work a corner here. So just go ahead and do that chain 3, single crocheting in peacoats, and then double crocheting into the join peacoats until you reach that point. All right, I've worked to my corner point. I've worked into 2 of the petals on the last flower, and then I'm going to chain 5, single crochet into the next peacoat, chain 3, so this is along the side, single crochet into the next peacoat, then we have another corner, so we're going to chain 5 again, and then go back to how we did the other side. You're going to single crochet into the peacoats, chain 3, and then double crochet into the joined peacoats, all with a chain 3 in between them. So just do that until you reach the last corner. Oops. And so here we have 1 gap left after we work into our last petal, and that is our last corner. So we're going to chain 5 and then slip stitch into that first single crochet, like so. So you see this is what it looks like, at least on the short band. Of course, it would be longer if you're doing your belt. And then from here, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet 3 into the chain. This is the little side chain. I'm just going to work over my tail as well. Okay, and then in the corner, what you do is you single crochet 3 into the chain, to the chain space. Then you chain 1 and then single crochet 3 more into that chain space. So that'll develop your little sharper corner. And then all the way down until you reach the next corner chain is you're going to single crochet 3 into each of the chain spaces. So nice and simple, just work your way down 3 single crochets in each chain space. All right, here we are at our corner. So we're going to do our single crochet 3 into chain space, chain 1, single crochet 3 into the chain space. Then along the side one, you're going to single crochet 3 into the chain space, like so. And then one more corner where you do 3 single crochets, chain 1, 3 single crochets, and then you'll just work along the other edge 3 single crochets in each chain space until you reach the next corner. All right, we're at our last corner. So just going to single crochet 3, chain 1, and single crochet 3, and then we'll slip stitch into that first single crochet. So there we are. Where is it? Here. And so that is the border, and then I'll go over adding one more round as it is in the pattern, but from here you can kind of, if you're doing your own design, do what you want. What I did there is I'm going back to the last single crochet because I want to do a color change. So I'm going to bring in my yellow. And I'm going to finish that single crochet and then do my slip stitch into that first one, like so. Okay, and again, I should qualify. And this is if you're doing either just the regular belt or the sunflower headband. Otherwise, you would finish off there and join in the corner chain 1 if you're doing the belt band for the cardigan. So I would go over that, but I think you all are smart people. You understand that, and it's pretty simple to do. So from here, you're going to single crochet all the way up the side of the band. I'm going over my tails a bit to secure them until we hit that chain 1 space. So here I'm hitting it. I'm going into that chain 1 space, I'm going to single crochet 2 into it, chain 1, and then single crochet 2 more into that chain space. There we go. And then you're going to single crochet all the way down your band on the long ways until you hit the next corner. All right, I've worked all the way across the band, and if you, again, I should reiterate, if you're doing this as the belt band for the Cottage Sunflower cardigan, you would end by just single crocheting 1 into the chain space. You would just be doing a single crochet all the way along here and all the way along here, not doing the sides. But since I'm showing you this for the headband, you are continuing around the sides or for just a belt. So you're going to single crochet 2 in the corner space and then chain 1 and then single crochet 2 in the corner space, just like we did at the beginning there. Then you're going to single crochet all the way down the side of the band. Till you reach the next chain 1 space, which is our corner. Okay, there I'm working into my chain 1 space. I'm going to single crochet 2, chain 1, then single crochet 2, and now I'm going to work all the way along the length of the headband and just single crochet all the way down until we meet our last corner. All right, I'm at my last chain 1 space. We're going to do our corner with our single crochet 2, chain 1, single crochet 2, and then just single crochet into those last stitches. Whoops, catching yarn where I shouldn't. And then slip stitch into the first stitch. And then in the case of the headband, what I would continue to do with this yarn, unless you want to swap to doing a green or a brown tie, I would slip stitch 1 more to get it centered and then do a chain or an I-cord here. But for the sake of this tutorial, there are plenty of tutorials to show you how to do a crochet I-cord. So I'm just focusing on the band for this. So this is what it looks like. And again, if it's the cardigan band, you would just need to do 2 single crochet rows along the 2 lengths. So that's the flat version. Now we're going to do the round version. All right, fun fact, this is the 3rd try of working on this because I realized I kept getting the math wrong. Okay, and in the case, it's a little more complicated if you were using this for the armband because we need to make certain increases that doesn't make it a nice seamless pattern. But if you're just using this for a different purpose, I'll point out which one you should follow for that. So this first row is nice and easy though. So you're going to join, let's see, you're going to join in the left petal, in the peacoat from the front to the back and join the green yarn like so. You're going to chain 1 and single crochet into that peacoat. Now you're going to chain 3. You're going to double crochet in the joined peacoats, so the joined petals here. You're going to chain 3, single crochet into the next peacoat, into the next petal, chain 3, and then you're going to repeat that same pattern. Single crochet, chain 3, double crochet to the joined, oops, that's not a good double crochet, there we go, chain 3, single crochet, and then chain 3, and then just repeat that all the way around. All right, I've worked around, and now we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet. And we're considering this, we're working the top of the band first, and then we'll consider this in the bottom of the band when we get to it. So for the top of the band, chain 1, and then you're going to depend on if you have even number of flowers. So you see I have 6 here, so I have an even number, but let's say you have 7. Well, let's take the even number first. So for the even number, you would single crochet 3 into the chain space, single crochet 3 into the chain space, and then single crochet 4 into the chain space. So I like to think about it as the outside points of the flowers are 3s, and then the center one is a 4. Or you can think of as 3 3 4 3 3 4, and you do that all the way around if you're doing an even number. So that would be my case. Now if you have an odd number, so say you have 7 sunflowers, you want to add 2 extra stitches to that pattern. So what I do is for your first 3, you're going to do 4 single crochet into this chain space, 4 single crochet into the next chain space, and 4 single crochet like before into this chain space. And then after that, you go into 3 3 4, 3 3 4, 3 3 4, and so on. So you just need an extra increase in that case. So in my case, I have an even number of sunflowers. So I'm going to do just the single crochet 3 into the chain space like so. I'm going to work my tail in. So that's 3 single crochet. Next chain space, I do 3 single crochet. And I'm still using the 2.25 millimeter hook. And then in the third or in the center flower of the flower, I'm doing 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go back to 3s. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll just do that all the way around. All right, I'm on my last single crochet 4, and I've done 3. And then I'm going to color change on the 4th one. So I'm going to push the green to the back, bring in my yellow, pull that through to finish that single crochet, and then slip stitch. Whoops, that was not a good slip stitch. Slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now this will be the same for both. You chain 1 and single crochet it all the way around. So you would just have a different, number of single crochets, but the principle is very easy. You just single crochet all the way around, slip stitch, and cut and weave in. And then I'll show you how we do the bottom of the band and just what to keep in mind for that number. Again, this is if you're doing the armbands for the cardigan. Oh, and I should have pointed out, so if you're just doing this for a different design, you just want to keep it even, you do the even number regardless if you have an odd number. So you do 3 4 3 3 4 3. I'm sorry, 3 3 4 3 3 4, or whatever configuration you want them to be in. But yeah, so just go ahead and do your, well, that was not a nice single crochet. Do your single crochets nicely all the way around. Alright, just for the sake of showing it, I've finished my single crochets. I'm going to slip stitch into the first one, cut my yarn, and then weave it in. So I'm going to have you go ahead and do the row 1 on this side on your own, since that's the exact same, and then I'll pick up with you on the second row. Alright, so here we are, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first one, and then now chain 1, and then we figure out which one we're dealing with. So if you're like in my case and you have an even number, you have like 6 or 8 sunflowers, or depending on the yarn you use. Oh, that needs to be tightened. I'll deal with that later. You have an even number, then you need to add an extra 1 to that regular pattern of 3 3 4 3 3 4. You're going to need an extra 4 in there. If you have an odd number, then you're going to do the same thing like the other one. You need an extra 2. So you're going to do 4 4 4, and then repeat into 3 3 4 3 3 4. And if this helps, they give you why you need either numbers. So if I am not making it clear to you and you can make the math make better sense in your head, the top you need it to be divisible by 4. So because when we're adding, we're going to be jumping in 4s. And on the bottom, since we kind of want an increase and span out, they're a little shorter, you want it divisible by 3. So in my case, I have an even number, so I just need to add an extra 1. So what I'm going to do is do 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my extra. And then I'm just going to fall back into the regular pattern. You can put your extras wherever you want. I'm just showing them at the beginning for ease of recording. And I think that's how I have it in the pattern. So here I have 3, and then back into where we usually have our 4 in the center of the flower. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to repeat as normal. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if you have an odd number, if you had like 5, 7, whatever, so you would do 4, 4, 4, and then go into the regulars. So just like you did before. And again, it will be in the written pattern, but so the rest of the way you just do the regular pattern, and then the third row is the same as here. You're just going to chain 1, single crochet around, slip stitch, cut, and weave in. So go ahead and finish that up, and then we'll take a look at our work. All right, wait, so we just finished this one, and so I'm making sure to, you can mark it or something if you're not going to work directly into it, that this is the bottom, this is the top. But yeah, that is the band, it worked circularly. I love how it looks. I think it would make like a pretty water bottle holder as well. Might do that actually. And then here is the flat version. I added the I-cord to make it the headband. And just remember, you don't have to do the yellow edges, but you do need to do the green edges for the cardigan band. But yeah, so that's that. I'm finally done with this tutorial. This has taken me like 3 days to do and keep coming back to. So I hope it was helpful. If you do have questions, do let me know. Do check out my other patterns, all the cottage patterns. We have different ones, and some of them utilize some similar like bases, and then the details in the design, like the bands and things, are swapped out to give a new look. But the other sections, if you've done one of them, it makes the second one have an easier process in that regard, so that you can just be very mindless about and then focus on like the bands or the trim or something that's different, that gives it a little bit of interest. I like that kind of balance. But yeah, anyway, do check it out. All my patterns on my Etsy or my Ravelry. Check me out on Instagram where you can engage in polls and things like that. And share your work. I would love to be tagged and see what you make from my patterns. But yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.